Most people don't have an anger problem. They have a weakness problem. They get offended easily. They react instantly. They let other people control their emotional state. And then they call it personality. But here's the uncomfortable truth. If someone can make you angry, they can control you. 2,000 years ago, Stoic philosophers understood something most modern men still ignore. Emotional control is power. In this video, you'll learn 6 habits that will make you unbreakable. Not cold, not emotionless, but untouchable. And if you miss even one of them, you will keep losing battles you don't even realize you're fighting. Let's begin. The first habit is simple. Delay your reaction. Anger is fast. Strength is slow. When someone insults you, disrespects you, or provokes you, your body reacts before your mind does. Heart rate rises, muscles tighten, words rush forward. And here's the danger. The faster you react, the easier you are to manipulate. Most people believe power means responding immediately, but Stoic discipline teaches the opposite. Power is the ability to pause, to breathe, to choose. In that pause, something extraordinary happens. You separate the event from your interpretation of it, and that is where freedom lives. If you cannot delay your reaction, you will always be emotionally predictable, and predictable people are easy to break. So the next time someone tests you, say nothing. Wait. Let the silence make them uncomfortable, because the one who controls the pause controls the situation. Habit 2. Refuse to personalize everything. Most anger comes from one silent assumption. This is about me. Someone is rude, someone disagrees, someone criticizes you, and instantly your ego translates it into an attack. But here's the dangerous truth. The more you personalize, the more you suffer. People act from their own fears, their own stress, their own insecurities. Most of the time, their behavior has nothing to do with you, yet you carry it as if it were yours. And here's the hook you must understand. If every comment can shake you, you are emotionally owned by strangers. Stoic discipline teaches this. You are disturbed not by events, but by your judgment about them. When you stop assuming everything is personal, anger loses its fuel. Imagine how dangerous you become when insults no longer penetrate you, when criticism becomes data, when disrespect becomes information. Because once you stop making everything about your ego, you become very hard to provoke and very difficult to break. Habit 3. Lower your expectations of people. Here's a truth most people resist. You're angry because you expect too much. You expect people to be fair, to be logical, to be mature, to behave the way you would behave. And when they don't, you feel betrayed. But here's the dangerous pattern. Unrealistic expectations create predictable disappointment, and predictable disappointment creates constant anger. Stoic wisdom teaches something radical. Expect people to act according to their nature. Some will be impatient, some will be selfish, some will be careless. That is reality. Here's the hook you cannot ignore. If you demand maturity from immature people, you will live in permanent frustration. Lowering expectations is not pessimism. It is strategic clarity. When you expect less, you react less. When you react less, you suffer less. And once you stop being shocked by human behavior, you become emotionally stable, which leads to the next level of strength. Habit 4. Train emotional endurance. Most people avoid discomfort. They avoid criticism. They avoid awkward conversations. They avoid tension. And because they avoid it, they become fragile. Here's the danger. If small discomfort feels unbearable, small conflicts will feel like attacks, and every minor irritation will trigger anger. Emotional endurance works like physical endurance. If you never stress the muscle, it never grows. If you never tolerate discomfort, your mind never strengthens. Strong individuals do something different. They allow tension without collapsing. They stay calm in awkward silence. They endure criticism without immediate defense. And here's the critical hook. The more discomfort you can calmly withstand, the less power the world has over you. Anger often appears when endurance ends, but when your endurance expands, provocation loses its effect. You don't explode, you observe. And once you can sit inside emotional heat without reacting, you become extremely difficult to break. Habit 5. Master the narrative in your head. Anger rarely comes from what happened. It comes from the story you tell yourself about what happened. Someone interrupts you, and your mind instantly says, "They don't respect me." Someone disagrees with you, and your mind whispers, "They're trying to undermine me." Here is the hidden danger. If you don't control the narrative, your emotions will. The mind is incredibly fast at creating dramatic interpretations, but most of them are exaggerated, incomplete, or completely wrong. Strong people question their first story. They ask, what else could this mean? And here's the hook you must internalize. The first interpretation is usually emotional. The second interpretation is usually rational. When you rewrite the narrative, you weaken anger at its source, because once you see events more clearly, your reaction becomes deliberate, not explosive. And when you control the story, you control the state. Habit 6. Focus only on what you control. This is the foundation of all Stoic strength. You control your thoughts, your actions, your responses. You do not control other people, their opinions, their behavior. Yet most anger comes from trying to control what was never yours to control. You want people to understand you, to validate you, to behave differently, and when they don't, you burn emotionally. Here's the hard truth. The more you fight reality, the more reality wins. Unbreakable people redirect their energy. Instead of saying, "They shouldn't act like that," they ask, "What is within my power right now?" And here's the final hook. The moment you stop arguing with reality, you become mentally dangerous, because nothing external can destabilize you. Anger fades when control becomes internal, and when your stability no longer depends on others, you become unbreakable. Being unbreakable does not mean you never feel anger. It means anger no longer controls you. Most people live as emotional puppets. One comment ruins their day. One insult changes their mood. One disagreement steals their peace. But now you know the truth. If you control your reactions, you control your life. So here's the challenge. For the next 7 days, practice the pause. Rewrite the story. Focus only on what you control. No excuses. Because the world cannot break a person who refuses to surrender their inner discipline. If this message strengthened you, subscribe and build that strength daily.